Okay. Hello, everyone. Ashley and I are here tonight once more. Our monthly update on Star Nation's galactic beings. And I know what? What? What's wrong? Oh, you're muted. Now you're muted.
That's okay. It's okay.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, you wanted to be muted. All
My
right.
my face was like because there were tabs open for our channel, and so I was hearing echoes everywhere. So I was like, I was trying to close
Yeah,
it.
your face was like, what's
Yeah.
going on? I was hoping it was okay.
Right.
So anyway, thank you,
Continue.
everyone. As usual, technical stuff going on as always, and so a lot of buttons to push, and you never know if you're pushing the right one. But we've got lots to share about our galactic experiences, and well, we can call it galactic because I feel like we are part of the galactic community anyway. There's no way around it, especially now. Now that we're waking up to our multidimensional selves. And so thank you for being here. And thank you, Ashley, for being here.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
We're recording, right? Yeah. Can you
Yes.
believe that we used to pilot ships? We can't even run a YouTube live half the time.
Yeah. Well, we
Until it
pilot
gets
them
to
now.
the DNA and the thoughts, then it will be challenging. As
Yeah, I
long as there's
know.
buttons to click, it'll be hard.
I think I think we probably and I have memories of piloting ships with our, a lot with our mind.
Yeah.
And so you really have to be disciplined for that. And that's something, you know, modern society is kind of lost, right?
Yeah.
Piloting our own bodies and our life with our
Yeah.
mind is
Squirrel, cheeseburger. What's that on my phone? Crash.
I know we can't even remember what we walked into a separate room for,
Mhm.
or was that just me?
No, it happens to me all the time.
I have to go back to where I started and then get that thought back.
Yeah.
I've heard the doorways represent a different thought or a different space for us, and that's why we kind of lose that thought that we had originally as we walk through a doorway.
Hmm.
Which reminds me of something I wanted to share. But to start off, for those who don't know us, I am Sharon Kumara, and I am stationed in the Portland, Oregon area where I'm offer services as a psychic medium, hypnotherapist, channel. I teach classes. My next class coming up is uh, accessing the Akashic records and clearing any karmic programming. And
Ooh.
understanding soul agreements that you may have that don't you no longer want to have anymore, and so clearing those, everything that we need to clear in order to move up in frequency as high as possible. So I am offering that class on July 30th. Go to my website sharonsananda.com, and you'll get everything you need to know. And then I do have a psychic and mediumship development course coming up in September, and lots of good stuff in between those two. And I keep forgetting to mention this, but Stephen keeps reminding me, don't forget to talk about your book. So I am I'm writing a book. I've had two near death experiences and I'm writing about them, and I'm almost finished. I've got about 140 pages, and I have still I could write probably 300 pages, but I don't want to do that. I'm trying to count, top it off around 150, 160, maybe 170, to where I can write another one. And I've been working on this one for 10 years. And so um, it's really cathartic, I guess is the word.
Yeah, it would take. I imagine it would take a lot of time and integration and remembering and all kinds of things.
Yeah, totally. And I haven't even started looking at um, my journals yet, my written journals. I've just been writing with what I remember to be the most profound experiences.
Mm-hmm.
in the aftermath of my NDE, and which I feel was all part of it anyway. So, and how I woke woke up, my awakening, my quickening. Anyway, so I'm writing that. So hopefully next year, my goal is to have it in published next year sometime.
That's awesome. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
me too.
I think
And
it's
what
such
about you, Ashley?
a feat to write a book, to start it, write it, and find a publisher or find a way to publish it. It all
Yeah,
feels
totally.
kind of overwhelming and challenging.
Hmm.
So hi everyone. I am grateful to be here for yet another month. Somehow we are 6 months into this year, or 7 months into this year, right? Yep. Lionsgate is coming up in August. So I am Galactic Ashley, and I channel divine guidance for Starseeds and Earth Warriors, connecting them to their star families, dragon, and galactic lineages. I use light language frequencies and work with your cosmic connections to facilitate high frequency healing transmissions and encoded activations. I have a few things going on. The first one is, which is really good timing, is the Summer Psychic Fun Fest, which is a 4-week psychic practice circle, and it's for all abilities, all bodies, all minds, all levels. Everyone is welcome. You have the option and opportunity to come twice a week if you want, or just come to the one. I'll be doing a 30-minute transmission towards the beginning, and then there will be an hour of practice, and it's all online. And you can find out more about that on my website, which is galacticashley.com. And it starts July 25th. So that means you can do mine and then jump over and do Sharon's in September. And for anybody that missed the International Dragons Summit, you can go to dragonthunder.info and have access to not only I did a transmission on building the dragon body, and then through that there's there's coupon codes so that you can access the dragon downloads that I have available on my website. And there's like Diana Cooper and all these really amazing other speakers are in there too. So I highly suggest that. And then the other thing that I have that will be starting in September is a 4-week course called Soul Inquiry, and it's really about the art of question asking. So for me, I found it highly beneficial, and it's a core part of how I channel, how I work with plant medicine and other people in general. And I find it's a really profound tool to have access to. So I highly recommend that. And I think that both of these things that I have that coming up are really good. Sort of, if you've ever been curious about coming into the Galactic Ashley family, I feel like these are really good introductory courses to join. And of course, there's star sessions, and I do one-on-one coaching as well. So, yep. So I'm happy to be here. So thank you. I can't believe a whole month went by. So I thought your email was funny when you're like, somehow a month went by and it snuck up on us.
I know, right? Well, that happens in summer, I guess. We're off doing fun things, and before we
Yeah.
know it, a whole month goes by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How have the energies been feeling to you lately? If you know or have just
Uh,
curious. You know, a lot
I've
of
been
people.
feeling, I've been sleeping pretty hard, and I usually wake up during the night, a few times. And I just kind of attributed it to my new bed because I've got a memory foam bed, which is so comfortable.
Mm.
But I feel like I've been also just sleeping pretty hard, and not remembering my dreams every night, which with me that is disturbing for me. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but other than that, yeah, I do feel an intenseness for sure. It feels like the energies are intense every once in a while, and I also feel excitement.
Well, you know what the excitement is about?
The intenseness.
You know what the intensity is about? The excitement. Do you know what the excitement is about? The intenseness. That's funny.
It just feels like things are ramping up, and ramping up rather quickly. And so I feel excited, and I feel my peeps feel the excitement of it too.
Hmm.
And yeah, so I feel that. I haven't felt anything that was, well, my electronics have been really giving me a hard time. Other than that, that's annoying. Other than that, I'm fine. I just feel excited about what we're dealing with and what we're going through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
I don't know. It's like a combination of both. I think that there's some I don't feel heavy at all, but I feel like there's a lot of we'll just say there's a lot of darkness that's like shifting. There's like moving around, right? And there's also a lot of excitement. I'm not really one for like fear porn at all.
Hmm.
Um, but for me personally, I've been asked to sort of really stand in my power in a very different way. And I feel like I've just been doing a massive amount of maybe like I know that we're all doing the work, right? But there's just been like a whole restructuring of like my foundation. So the way in which I connect is kind of shifting, which is a little bit like there's been a lot of space between me and the galactics, and a lot of more earth oriented beings are coming in, and trees and other like jungle frequencies and other just like deep earth beings are coming in. I mean, my other beings are still there. The dragons, nobody's going anywhere, but it's like there's just been like a shift in energy, and I understand sort of what's going on with me and why that's happening. But there's a part of me that's like, like I was just with Shauna yesterday. Like, so for those of you that don't know, Shauna L. Francis, she channels a lot and she does a lot of amazing channeling. And it's nice that this is happening today too, because I'm like, we're in galactic frequencies, right? Because there's just such like earth stuff is happening kind of like in my world is what it feels like. So it's nice to just get to be in these spaces and be like, all right, galactics, come in. No.
Balance, balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. It's interesting about the earth beings, because I've been hearing information about the ant people that live in the underground cities and things like
Oh
that.
yeah,
That
somebody
are,
brought that question up last time. Yeah.
oh, okay, yeah, that are being are going to apparently soon make themselves more known to
Hmm.
us. So yeah, that's interesting. They could be, sending out those communications. I definitely feel more drawn to the earth. I mean, where I live. I live on the river, so I'm constantly
Hmm.
outside on the river, in the water, on the water, and in the water. So it's part of my life. But I know that I can tell a difference if I get too busy on the computer and just, get caught up in computer work and that kind of thing, or just not connecting, being outside. I can tell a difference in my energy. I feel edgy, and I just don't feel connected. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's good to go outside and ground, because
Hmm.
we're part of this planet, our
Right.
mother Earth. Yeah. So go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and technically, if you feel like you really align with being galactic or a star seed or whatever experience you're having in the human body, it's still a galactic experience, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right. Right. And, you know, we've all come from some different star, or some different civilization.
Hmm.
at some time. It's, because we apparently have 24 star or seed or extraterrestrial races within our DNA. I think it's 24 or 22. I can't remember. Some say 24, some say 22. But those of us that are aware, and I'm sure everyone watching this, our DNA has been tampered with so much so that we forget who we really are. But we're waking up, and it's really awesome. Waking up, really awesome. Yeah. And I wanted to. I wrote. I crammed, for the show tonight. So say okay, yeah. Among things that I've experienced, I just wanted to share a few things here. Let's see. First off, Ashley and I were talking about flying cars, and I heard about the fact that manufacturers are starting to, the FAA, let me see, the FAA has cleared the first cleared FAA cleared flying car. So in 2019, it was actually cleared, I believe. And this is a recent article just a few days ago. Let me see here. So it looks like we will be having flying cars if you have $250,000 to buy one, in next year.
Maybe I'll never be late if my vehicle flies. Unless I have to drive to a place to get to the car and then wait in line to use the car to fly in the air. So it'll all depend on if I can just pull out of my driveway or land it on my roof or something.
Well, yeah, that's the idea.
Yeah.
Vertical lift and vertical landing. So that means that they're flying in the interim. So yeah, so it's pretty cool. So looks like there are 6 companies that are creating flying cars. Yeah, and in 2025, they will be available, commercially available, between $250,000 and $300,000.
Fascinating.
So if we all pull our money together, we might be able to buy a Fender. Who knows? But who knows? Maybe. And I've constantly seen it, and the clairvoyants here have probably seen it too. That within our or intuitive sensitive people, when you see see the future, I want to say within our lifetime, 20 years at the most, that we will have the capacity to purchase flying cars.
I wonder if they'll also drive, because then if you're like on the 405 or something, or you're in LA or the 205 and you're like, it's just rush hour traffic and you can just go and then like take off and not be in traffic anymore. Because sometimes you might want to drive. And sometimes
well, this one here, let me share it. It looks like a regular car.
Huh.
Here, let me share it.
Okay.
All right, can you see it?
What? Where's the trunk space? Where's the dog bed? I don't know.
So this is what they revealed in late June 2023. It's flying car Model A is now available for pre-order and will soon hit the roads and sky, it says. So I guess it's just like you say. Yeah, so you can just hit a button, like was it Batman, and it will lift up and fly.
I wonder, you don't need to know any of this, but I just wonder, there's no wings. How's it working? How does it work?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I mean, but we see spaceships and stuff like that without wings.
Yeah. No, I understand, but we haven't quite, other than the helicopter.
No, it's not a helicopter. That's pretty cool looking.
Yeah, no, I think it's super cool.
Yeah. It's got tires on it. So
Yeah.
so yeah, it's looks like it's exactly what you said. You can
How
just
are who's gonna, I don't know. I just think of all these things. Like you could get one of those, and then if a cop is gonna pull you over, I mean, I guess there'll be like some kind of license plate, and then you're just like boop, boop, and then you're gone. They can't get you. And I'm assuming it's electric. I don't know what the article says. I don't expect you to know all of this. I'm not asking you.
It's
I'm just
electric.
like, okay.
Yeah, it's electric. I did read that part that it was electric. But
Okay.
I know, isn't that funny? That's cool. So I know I would assume that cops would probably have them first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feels kind of like
So
a crazy video game.
I can't wait. I believe that totally that this is the kind of stuff that we have to look forward to in this life. I mean, medical technology is going to be able to help us live longer,
Hmm.
which is uh, what we call the med beds and things like that, but through holographic imaging and things like that, we can cure what we have going on. And that's, I understand that's coming up also for I know we've been talking about it for a long time, but I didn't see it actually coming into the public mainstream use until around 2025 or something like that, 2024, 2025. So
Mm.
um yeah, so we can do that in this lifetime. Why
Yeah.
not?
Use the med beds so you can live longer and have a flying car.
Yeah, why not? Why not? I mean, we have all the cures we need. They've just been they've
Yeah.
been squelched.
It'd
Yeah,
be cool if public transportation was flying too, or something. Do you know what I mean? Or there was a
hmm,
separate space for that. So it could be faster.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's lots of movies about that where they've got these or space series. Did you ever see the series? Oh gosh, it's so good. Not Star Trek, but oh gosh.
Most likely not.
Okay, yeah, I know you know. I think it was on Netflix, but it's I can't remember it, but shows all these civilizations on all different planets, and a lot of them are slave trade. A lot of
Mm,
slave trade going on. And
yeah.
that the our part of the system, galaxy or star system, is pretty crowded, and humans are a lot of humans are are kidnapped as slaves, or they come from other planets and they're kept as slaves, but and that type of thing on these used as labor, unpaid labor, like what Tony Rodriguez went through, and a lot of people on Earth went through. The
Hmm.
Expanse. That's it. The Expanse. That's the name of it.
Mm. Yeah, I did not see that.
Okay, really good. But they have these huge flying in the movie. These huge flying um, buses, basically, kind of
Mm.
thing. Yeah, I mean, there are motherships and things like that. So
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah, I don't think slavery was not I mean, we have to take responsibility for it here, but it's existed beyond this planet. That's probably, I mean, that's where the idea came from, right? We've been enslaving ourselves for a really long time
Yeah,
and other humans.
yeah, right. So it probably started with the Anunnaki, the negative uh, part of the Anunnaki, and then they and then when the Draco reptilians came into our solar system, our galaxy, the regressive grays, all of those got together and said that, hey, we can use these humans for lots of things.
Yeah.
Why should we, use our own people, our own labor?
Mm-hmm.
That's the story of the Anunnaki anyway. In our planet, is they brought their own laborers to mine the gold and the minerals they wanted, and their own people said, revolted, and then Enlil, and then they, because there were indigenous people on the planet, and they used them, created slaves for labor, humans type. Anyway, enough of that. It's ancient history, but it's real. You don't hear about it. I mean, you hear about it in the book of Enoch and books like that aren't in the
Mhm.
Bible. They talk, Enoch, the book of Enoch talks about it, those types of things. And I think they talk a little bit about it in the Bible, but nothing like what we should know. So yeah, flying cars are in our future.
Great transition.
And I know I've talked about Tony Rodriguez and his book Series Colony Cavalier, where he tells the story of being a slave. He's kidnapped as a child and taken to other planets and worked at for 20 and back, the 20 and back program type of thing.
Yeah.
Well, he has a new book, and I'm only 4 pages left of or finishing it. It's real thin, but it's a story that he didn't share in his first book. And his first book triggered so many things in me, where I said, "Oh my gosh, I remember that. Oh my gosh, I have that journal. Oh my gosh, I remember that." But I didn't have any context for it.
Mm-hmm.
So his book actually helped me dive into my own experiences through meditation and hypnosis. And his book is about when he was, and it jives so much with my experiences as seeing myself as another being, where he was during his 20 and back. They took his consciousness out of his human body and inserted it into an extraterrestrial body uh, that was uh, what's the androgynous, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And they use these beings in another star system to create stars. That's why it's called Project Star Maker.
Mm.
And what they do is they go out in these ships, and they kept him there for 10 years. And they would go in they'd use these little personal glass ships, and they'd throw rocks down a gravity well to create stars, to create a star. That was their goal, to create a star.
Mm-hmm.
And to the point where it would create a star, it would implode, create a star, and then the idea was to create a civilization on the ring, create a ring around the star, like Jupiter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so it was really fascinating. They were kept as slaves, basically laborers, didn't have a life, were asexual, that kind of thing. And it made me think about my experiences of seeing myself as another as a non-human type extraterrestrial being.
Does he happen to talk about because you're saying, or he's saying, not you, but 10
Yeah.
years? Because that could be 10 Earth years, but feel very, very different in the other, in the ET body, right? That could feel like 30 years. Have you
Yeah.
gotten that far to read about what the time actually was or what it felt like?
um I don't recall him talking about that. I know that it was 10 years in the terms of the humans that put him in the project, because there were humans. It
Yeah.
basically was with humans that put him in the project. They made a deal with these extraterrestrials that he would be there for 10 years. But he also found out that they weren't, that was a lie, that the beings had lied. Anyway, I won't give away the book, but there was a lot there. Uh, so it was in, what I understand is, it's supposed to be in Earth years, because they made a deal with humans, and they would give the humans some technology in exchange for these consciousnesses.
Hmm.
They would provide the bodies, and they would provide the consciousnesses.
Okay. Like the not humans or humanity, but like the government or the human consciousness,
The
like at like
mil-
a higher level, the human consciousness.
um, who?
Like who's making the deal, I guess. I mean, is it like
Oh,
government?
the military,
Yeah.
the Luftwaffe, whatever it's called, the German military that are
Okay. Okay.
in charge of the space programs out in space that that run them. But I understand that they're not in charge anymore. The military, the Black Ops military that are out in space, using humans for that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
um, so they're the ones that made the deal. Okay.
Okay. That
Hi,
makes sense.
Michelle. Michelle is asking, can it go underwater too? Oh, the flying car.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything about that in the article, but I'm sure we'll have one.
Eventually,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah. So, but what's really interesting about that is, and I remember, um, I mean, my consciousness is being, our conscious, all of us, I'm sure, since we are multidimensional, we have different avatars, I guess you could say. Um, but I remember the beings that I was working with telling me that my consciousness has been that they had my soul, my consciousness, like on in a jar, basically on a shelf.
Like some galactic formaldehyde
Yeah,
holding your consciousness. Okay. What
yeah.
was it doing?
And they were talking to me about clones, and think what was it doing?
Yeah, I mean, what were they doing with it? That's all.
Oh,
Keep
it
going
was
with your story. I'm sorry to interrupt.
no, yeah. Well, if my during my time there in that program, if my body got too badly damaged, which it did quite a few times, then they would take my consciousness and insert it into another body. Okay. Um, Now I do believe that I was put on a shelf for a while. I don't know why, because I just feel like I was. But Alex Collier apparently said that the Andromedans used to rescue children's souls that these types of beings, or actually they were regressive gray beings, had on their ships, and they would trade them or sell them to other species, the souls
Mm-hmm.
or energy, and they would rescue them. The Andromedans would. So anyway, so I thought that, I mean, that was all kind of stuff that was tying together a lot of what what we've been dealing with for a long time, and I understand that that's getting better now to where these beings aren't allowed to do that anymore. They're not in our star system anymore. So that's a good thing for sure. Yeah.
Right. It also makes sense that like we do the slavery thing here, we do the child abduction here, we do all of that here, and it makes sense that those two frequencies are kind of magnetized into the sort of star system. And so maybe
Right.
for anybody that's like, well, what does it matter? Or, oh no, what do I do? I mean, I think there's multiple ways you can work with that too. You can work with it here by changing the way that you live. Even something as I'm going to make sure that the things that I buy are supporting the type of energy that I want to support, and like what are you feeding into? And then the other thing is depending on who you are, there's a lot of people um, that know that they're guided to maybe work interdimensionally to kind of like work with those energies. But that's something that you have to, I feel like, really deeply know within yourself if that's something that you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Yeah. So Michelle said, I heard the souls of enslaved children are taken up to ships for love and healing. Yeah. I'm sure that's right. Totally. Uh, which brings up, that new movie that's out called the Sound of Freedom. I highly suggest.
What is that about? I know nothing. I've been I've been in and I think I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but before Memorial Day I started a plant dieta, so I'm not watching anything. I'm
That's
not watching
fine.
any TV or like any I don't know what's going on. And so it's really funny. I'm eating like bland food, no salt, no sugar. So I'm like, oh, what's going what
Yeah.
movie is that? So what movie is that?
Yeah, I'm still in the world here. So
Yeah, let me know how it's going.
I find I have to find the balance between the two. That's the only way
Yeah,
I can get through my day. But
yeah.
it's called The Sound of Freedom. Have you heard of Operation Underground Railroad?
No, but you're gonna
Okay.
tell me about it.
Yes. Okay. Operation Underground Railroad is a organization, nonprofit that rescues trafficked children.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and he's an ex special agent for the FBI, I believe, and or Secret Service, not Secret Service, Homeland Security. And so he had to quit in order to rescue these children.
Mm,
It tells his story about rescuing a brother and a sister. Okay, and it's really profound. Jim Caviezel plays. His name is Tim Ballard. Plays him in the movie, which who played the Christ in the Passion, Mel
mm-hmm.
Gibson's movie. Okay,
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah. So he does a really really good job, and so it tells the story of the fact that there is these children are being trafficked all over the world,
Yeah.
like and it's grown 5,000 times in the last, I don't know, 20 years, if not more or less. There's statistics in the movie, and you can go to their website too. I mean, I give to them every month because of what they're doing. But it's something that at least I can do. I don't know what else to do. I feel like I
Right.
need to do something. You
Yeah.
know, I
That is
pray,
something.
I pray, I give, and I spread the word, and I go see the movie, but you can pay it forward if for other people that may not be able to afford it that want to go see it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's part of right. It's part of that galactic. It's not just a human problem. It's part of that galactic connection and being responsible stewards of
Mm-hmm.
each other. And that's what brings us further into the galactic community, and where we are welcomed into the Federation and places like that, where only the high vibrational cultures are allowed in, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's all connected, and it's an amazing movie. I mean, it sold out Disney's new movie, Indiana Jones. It's
There's
it's the
another
biggest.
Indiana Jones. There's like 100. I don't
It's
know. There's
like, I know, really,
gonna
really.
be a
I
lot of
love,
Indiana Jones.
I like Harrison Ford, and I love I like some of the movies, but come on. Anyway, so it's the biggest box seller in the country, and it's just a little budget movie, but it's really, really. Oh,
Good.
and Disney made it 5 years ago. Listen to this: Disney made it 5 years ago, or produced it 5 years ago, and would not release it.
The Underground Railroad one or Indiana Jones?
Yeah, um, Sound of Freedom. Sound of
Oh, Sound
Freedom.
of Freedom. Okay.
That's the name of the movie. They would not release it, so they had to go through a lot to get it even in theaters because it was made 5 years ago. But anyway, it's really good.
It's interesting.
Highly, highly recommend it just to know what's going on, because it's something that we all need to know.
Interesting. Disney made it and then hung on to it and didn't release it. Hmm.
Are you surprised?
No, it was just like, why did they even agree to make it in the first place? Like, nobody needs to know the answer to that, but I'm just wondering.
Who knows?
Hmm.
Yeah. 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 There. I mean, you can call me a conspiracy theorist. I don't care. I've been one for 20 years, I guess. Uh, mainstream media is just slamming it. It's like, what? You're not against child slavery and child trafficking, rescuing children? You're not against that? Why would you slam this movie? It just doesn't make any sense. But we're learning more and more what our institutions that we've been, you know, put up on a pedestal are all about. Yeah. More and more every day with things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see here, Michelle. Dr. Peterson, Jordan Peterson, yes. His theory of how human evil started with the Cain and Abel story in the Bible. It really made sense about how we humans are trying to hurt Source by hurting his humans. Interesting, yeah. Um, yeah, there's lots of ways to look at that. I believe that the Cain and Abel story is actually a metaphor or a spin off of Enki and Enlil, the Anunnaki.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, makes sense. Some
I
of it,
mean, yeah, just the way we treat each other in general, and the way we treat everything. I mean, we're just.
not just humans, but the animals on the planet and everything. And I do believe that it has a lot to do with being tampered with. I'm not saying it's all our fault. We've been kept in this 3D matrix. When I was writing my book the other day, I had these visions and these inspirations that this 3D matrix was created by these regressive ETs. And it so that they could keep us here because our planet was in quarantine.
Yeah, I feel I heard somebody talking about their birth story, and I thought it was really interesting. And I wish some midwives and doulas would, maybe there's people out there that are doing this, but um, she basically felt like when she was giving birth, her job was to obviously be with the body the whole time, but to expand her body all the way through the matrix so that when she was birthing her child, she was protecting her child all the way through until it came through her so that it didn't get the programs. Because
Oh wow!
yeah, because when we're born, we are like, we're automatically like pre-programmed, because you can't come through the matrix and not be touched by it, right? So it's this
Right.
idea of, and Sean and I were actually talking about this the other day too. It's the idea of like, there's a lot of people out there that are saying like, oh, I'm outside the matrix, but we're here in this earth, and the matrix is also like part of the grid system too. And there's like there's the good matrix, there's a fragmented matrix, and there's like negative parts of it, and we're kind of rebuilding it based on like the choices that we make. But a lot of the programming, it's like not our fault, but that's like part of what creates the separation between ourselves and source. And I recently had an experience where the beings were like reprogramming something inside of me that was like really like deep down, billion layers, right? And it was like there was this fear of being loved, right? So it's not like I'm not lovable and all that stuff, but this was like something else. This was like like a scarcity of love, like, which then creates attachments to relationships and the way you sort of
Right.
relate to the world. And I was being asked to stand in my power, and so they were like, well, we have to we're gonna pull this out of your subconscious and basically reprogram it and get this out of there, right? And I was like, holy smokes, because I know that like unconditional love is infinite and that there's no such thing as scarcity, right? And a lot of times we talk about scarcity in terms of money, but this was some other level of something, and there was like a lot of like darkness in that, and there was and I was like part of, like, I was experiencing, because they were just showing me what it was like, right? The image that they showed me, it's that wolf with that has two infants that are sort of suckling on it, which I think is Ramus and Romulus or something. And I don't even know the story about that, but it's a beautiful like she-wolf image, right? But it was sort of like that image, but all of these beings that were just trying to like get attention, right? Just like me, like give me attention, give me attention. But that is such a frequency that is not true and it's not real. And we can tell ourselves that and we can know that, but we have to like fully get in our bodies and like start pulling out some of these serious thought forms that are really like anchored into our bodies, because those are the kinds of things that like that's not a little thing, that's a big thing, but that's like that little frequency is running into every relationship that we have. So if like that you're the type of person that maybe has a hard time with separation or in breaking up with somebody, and this is like a very like sort of obvious example, and there's like a sort of a clinginess that could absolutely have to do with trauma and childhood trauma and a lot of those things, and mine did too. But there's also this like deeper like matrixy programming that is there, that is also causing that. So to me, it's like we have to deal with the human experience and also the matrix and also the past lives and all of these things, because our bodies are really connected to all of it. And there's like a wisdom in our cellular structure that has access to everything. And I just think it's all really fascinating and very interesting. And I was just like, I can't like, because it was really intense. I was like, this is intense, like this need and this thing. And I was like, wait a minute, like I'm not doing this. I'm not participating in this because that's not God. Like there is really no separation. But that belief of separation between us and God is multi-layered through like our super, I mean, maybe not like our super conscious, right? But just like all of these parts of us. And you just got to get in there and just pull these threads out and
Yeah.
just look at them. It's intense.
Yeah. And that's where it started, didn't it? I mean, it's every lifetime pretty much, we've been programmed to believe that God is outside of us and we're separated from him, her,
Source, whatever it is.
source, whatever. Yeah. And so, yeah, that's pretty intense for sure. And and on the emotional vibrational scale, shame and guilt are at the bottom of the scale.
Mhm.
And that's what in spirit rescue and past lives and things like that, bringing through these, personalities that are stuck or caught up in those feelings of not feeling worthy of love all the time, feeling that, well, first of all, God is going to punish them for
Mhm.
whatever. That's huge. And that's probably in all our DNA in Western society because of the, how prevalent the Christianity is in those types of teachings in Western society. A lot of us probably have that. It doesn't have to be Christianity. There's other religions that teach guilt as well, guilt and shame. Um, so yeah, that's really deep, and that's something I had to work on really deep with
Mhm.
me, with clearing my stuff. So yeah, that makes total sense. It's there's a lot of deep programming that we're helping, working on ourselves and helping others to see too. Michelle has something here. Let me see her. Um, isn't the veil much thinner for the new children coming in? Are they less susceptible to being caught in or influenced by the matrix? I would I would agree with that. I also agree that the matrix is falling. Is as we wake up to the veil, the lies we've been told over the hundreds, if not thousands, of years, and so and we're bringing in so much more light. So it's kind of like a double-edged lightsaber, right? So, if you see Star Wars, I think there was someone who had the double light one. I can't remember who it was. Um, but because they come in more aware, and the matrix is falling at the same time, and they're helping the matrix to fall by coming in with as much light as they have. So yeah, it's an amazing thing. What do you think, Ashley?
I feel like it's thinner for them, but I feel like it's also important to keep in mind that some people are really taking on a lot, even with their family lineage and DNA, and so all these other sort of influences are going on. And I feel like if you are born into like a super matrixy family, that veil might not be as thin, even though like it's available. It's, but if I feel like there's a lot more people walking around that are kind of aware, and I think that because of their awareness, that has contributed to the veil being thinner. So then in a lot of the sessions that I'll do, especially with like mothers and such, the beings will always say it takes a high vibrational mother to bring in a high vibrational child a lot of times, right? Because even the womb space would be too discordant to house like a high vibrational child. So I think these are like, it all plays a role. I definitely feel that the earth has shifted her frequency a lot. And this was a message that started coming in a while ago. And I remember when it first came in, I felt really emotional about it because I'm somebody that experiences ADHD, but that the earth is like, the vibration is shifting to the point where a lot of people that are neurodivergent will become sort of less neurodivergent because the system is sort of oscillating to those minds and to those vibrations, and almost to the point where those that don't experience neurodivergence will become neurodivergents, and things sort of get swapped in a way. We don't hope for that. We want everybody to sort of be in alignment with the
Right.
correct, not that there's a right or wrong vibration, but that the earth is actually supporting those sort of energies and the sensitivities and everything. But it's a process. It's not overall. So yeah, I mean, there's the ancestral karma, but also there's so many things that happen inside the human body with just getting the central nervous system is very much dependent upon the mother, and sort of creating proper sort of loving attachment and safety. And when that's not really in alignment, it just so many challenges can happen, whether which I think contributes to like the matrix and everything else. But yeah, I would say overall it's thinner, but what does that really mean? And sometimes I feel like when I look at the earth, there are places on the planet that have a thinner veil than other places, which we probably already all know that, but that's what it
Yeah.
feels to me.
Hmm. Yeah, totally. So one thing I wanted to share too on my list here is that Michael Saul, I follow him. I think I mentioned that he has an army insider who reports missions that he goes to. And this one, he went on, and he was an undisclosed location in the United States. He can't. He said there's others around the world too, but he can't even say the countries. But where he was met by tall Nordic beings who have white skin and white hair, and he was in a time travel facility. So let me share what he said. I listened to the interview, half of it. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but he kind of sums it up here. It was really fascinating. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so JP, who currently, on June 23rd, 2023, JP, who currently serves the U.S. Army, was taken to an undisclosed location with 5 military personnel from different nations who were all multilingual. They met at the location with Nordic-looking extraterrestrials who work with scientists to develop time travel technology. In the main room where the multinational team went, there were 4 time travel devices shaped like hemisphere tunnels with event horizons that would transport one, and I don't have the rest on the screen, 2090, transport one person, I believe. And these are the years that were written on the tunnels: 2090, 2050, 1940, or 1550. JP said that the multinational team was interviewed about whether they would volunteer to travel to any of the time periods to conduct research on space arcs. They were told that they would spend up to 10 years at the location and then be returned shortly after their departure, thereby not unduly disrupting their everyday family life. So that sounds reminiscent of Tony's 10 years that he talked about.
Yeah.
Right?
So they're gone for 10 years, but they come back to base they come back like 10 minutes later or a day later or something.
No, like in the same time. And that's what Tony Rodriguez talks about in his books, that when they bring them back, no time has really gone by.
Right.
Yeah. Because they're outside, the Earth matrix or whatever, the time matrix, whatever time matrix they're in. But that's fascinating. In the interview, he talks about seeing some people coming out of secret space program. Yes, Michelle. Yes, totally. Coming out of the portal. It reminds me of, let me stop the share here, of Stargate. Did you ever watch that series?
No. I think the worst. I know. I haven't seen like any of these things, which is fine.
That's fine. I know. I'm kidding. Yeah. But that's Stargate's another disclosure series. Well, it was a movie first, but another disclosure series, totally telling us all these shows and movies or whatever, not all of them, but Star Trek, Star Wars, are just telling us, Stargate, what we have going on the planet. And like that series I was talking about, the Expanse. I was obsessed with it because it was like I've been there. I know this. You know what I mean? It was so real. Yeah. Journey of Truth let's see. Podcast covers it a lot. Covers what a lot? Oh, Secret Space Program. Yes. Good. I need to watch their channel. I don't watch it, but I know about it. They just had a big annual conference in Grafton, Illinois. I heard about it. Cool. Yeah, I'm so glad it's getting out there, that this information is getting out there. There's a lot more people, I believe, that are waking up to this type of thing.
Yeah, I know a couple, and it's nice that there's a space for people
Yes.
to go to sort of process that, because that's just a whole other level of trauma and just a lot of torture and all kinds of awful things.
Definitely. Yeah. And that's why my memories made so much. This is what made my memories make so much sense. Because as they were coming through to me 20 years ago, I didn't understand them. But now I understand them a lot more. Anyway. Yeah, that's really cool. Time travel portals.
Mhm.
I didn't hear the video to see if he agreed, but how can you say no to that?
Because that didn't sound like a torturous thing. That just sounds
No,
like you go on
it didn't.
an
No,
arc, and you could go to the different time periods. Why would you go to 1950?
who knows?
I mean, there's a 2090 was an option.
Yeah, I guess they have to have missions, certain missions where they have to go, or uh,
Mm,
I believe that there are people visiting us from other times now,
for
and
sure.
we're doing it all the time. You know what I mean? And if you watch any of the Star Trek shows, there was a theme throughout. I think it was Enterprise series. There was a theme throughout the series of a temporal war. Okay, which is kind of like what we're dealing with, or was dealing with, where these beings would come from the future and try to and manipulate in the crew's current time to change things
Mm-hmm.
for the negative. And so a being from the Federation would come from the future to work to stop them, right? um, and he explained to the captain that it was a temporal war going on and he was part of it. And so yeah. And see, doppelgangers could be, definitely. I get the sense that a lot of us here have come here from our future to make sure that things go right this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, two timelines crossing could be, for sure. I
Mhm.
mean, it's crazy, but I do believe that there are beings that come here from our future or from our past or whatever, to that they have a way of doing that. Check up on us, maybe check up on things, make sure things are going okay. Maybe that's what they want him to do.
Yeah. Or to help, right? I mean, to help you help yourself. Because they're never really like, not necessarily telling you anything, but to me, it's just other aspects of yourself. I know that what you're talking about with the arc is different, but when beings come through you or to you, it just feels like there are other aspects of yourself that are existing. All of time and space is sort of crossing in this one point of being very present. So, but that's different than like a temporal war, because that feels more like um, beings are trying to, like, maybe they went extinct or made some really bad choices that have affected their consciousness. So they're like, we're just going to screw yours up, which there's like a loop because you're still choosing not appropriately. Like you're still not choosing like source, you're choosing something to try and have control over something. But a temporal war to mess around with stuff doesn't feel okay to me.
It's just
I
a
cannot
scary.
approve.
Yeah, I know. It's even a scary phrase, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's scary. It just, you can just feel it in your body. Just the word, the temporal word, just that right there,
Yeah.
just makes me tighten up. Yeah, because it's scary stuff for sure. Yeah, remote viewing. Well, yeah. I mean, we have the ability to time travel through remote viewing, through out of body experiences, through meditation, all that kind of stuff. We have that ability for sure. If that's what you mean, Michelle. Yeah. Which reminds me, let me read something about my meditation the other day. I wrote it down. I forgot about it till I was reading my journal. Um, yeah, I was in my morning meditation, and I was, I just asked, they could show me whatever they want. I just let things flow, whatever. Um, so I was being shown how to affect things with my mind. I was sitting with my guide, and I could see a granite table in front of me, beautiful granite table. and there was an arrangement of stones that were in a um, some type of iridescent container, and there was liquid in it. And the male teacher I was with showed me that he could use his mind to boil the liquid. And he said, and he told me, okay, now you try, you do it, not try, but you do it. And as I was started working on it, I was brought back here, so I didn't complete consciously. I don't know if I completed the teaching, but that was pretty cool.
Do you know where you were?
I haven't dove into it again. I was
I
in.
mean, like in a like, did it feel like Earth? Did it
It felt
feel
like on a ship. It felt like on
okay?
a ship. Yeah, yeah. I spent a lot of time on the ships. I felt like that was with him on the ship. Yeah,
I like it.
so that was cool. Yeah,
What did the rocks look like?
they were. They looked like, well, they were all different colors for one thing, but they just had this kind of iridescent glow to them. But there wasn't anything that was. Um, they looked blue and green, and those colors mostly. There was some orange in there, maybe about this big. Yeah. The granite. I remember the granite table or granite type table. It was beautiful. I just remember how beautiful, looking at the table and thinking how beautiful it was. Yeah. But when I was there in that space, I was used to it. Me was thinking that table is beautiful, but the me that was there was like, oh, okay, we're in here again.
I'm in school again.
I'm in class. All right, what are we doing now? Okay. Yeah. And then I had a dream. It was kind of like a semi-lucid dream recently where which I think it has to do with disclosure.
Hmm.
And I could see these very tall, and they felt like indigenous type of beings, that wise indigenous type of beings. They felt like that. I saw them standing on a hill. Okay, and let me see here. I see them standing on a hill. I'm with a group of people, and I see them standing there, and they're standing there, and they're holding like a staff. There's a group of them, and I go back and I tell the people that I'm with, because I'm just standing there by myself, and I see them standing there watching us, and I tell them that these people, they're not to be afraid of them, that they're very kind and very wise. Okay,
Mhm.
and so they're. Some of the people are saying are kind of afraid of them. Yeah, and they're one of them has a staff that's wrapped in green foliage type of thing, and I say, oh, they're here. I remember that part, and they're coming down the hill, and the group behind me starts to run from them. They're afraid of them, and I was the only one standing there. Um, and they walked toward me, and they said to follow them, and we walked toward the ocean, and that's and I went to the ocean to see he's looking to see who he's looking at, because we were walking toward the ocean, and I went with him to see who he was looking at, because he was looking out on the ocean, and I woke up there. So
What
I
they
woke up.
what they feel like?
I woke up feeling like they were not of this earth, or not of the of us kind of thing, and it didn't feel like a regular dream. It definitely felt like some type of experience, and it could be some kind of a message about that some people perhaps aren't ready for disclosure. Are we ready? Is the public ready? That was the question I wanted to ask.
Mm.
You know, what do you think, Ashley?
I mean, some are and some aren't, and it's gonna happen, and you're gonna believe it or not believe it, and it's gonna ramp up a whole bunch of fear, and people are probably gonna go nuts.
Yeah. In what way? In what way?
I feel like it might bring some people. I feel like it might bring some people together because of a common interest, or like, oh, this is happening. I saw that, you saw that too. And then there's going to be other people, like whatever that is, right? And maybe you can't even, like, what the hell is disclosure to begin with, right? It's a lot of different things. I think it's the, however, we will all handle disclosure um at the same level that we are able to handle suspending. Like in my course, we talk a lot about, like, when we're in this course, let's go ahead and just suspend our belief systems. You can have them. I'm not telling you to do anything, and I'm not really saying anything anyways, but the beings are always challenging, at least me and the people that I work with, just to like suspend your belief system. And
Yeah.
then when you do that, you leave some room to maybe bring in some other belief systems, because when we let go of one belief system, that usually means that there's a restructuring that has to happen in our foundation, which ultimately often affects our life and what we are like literally touching, feeling, seeing, and experiencing. So, however, I would say practice suspending your belief systems, right? Like on small things. If somebody says something, oh, does that make sense to me? Does that align with me? So, however good you are at that, or trained that you are in that, will be, however, that will be how you are able to sort of handle the disclosure things. And also, I feel like in all of this disclosure stuff, there's going to be some manipulative things that are not necessarily true that are also going on. So again, I think we're being asked to do a high level of discernment. And I think overall, it's going to create a lot of divisiveness. And of course, at the same time, the beings have been talking a lot about micro communities being really important. And so people gathering in small spaces and and starting these sort of smaller communities. And eventually, as those communities build themselves, they'll connect to more communities. And then those sort of larger communities will go together. So, and at the same time, we can't really say this community is better than that community, or those people don't know what they're talking about, because everybody is still on their own ascension process, because I still firmly believe that all paths lead to ascension. Now, where that is and how it goes, I don't know.
No,
Um,
of course.
yeah. So
Of
some
course. Yeah.
people are going to be like, and some people just might be, I mean, none of us are really like crow flying, like, because we have to learn something over here. So we like kind of weave back in. But I feel like it's going to, disclosure as it unfolds. I mean, hopefully it sort of goes in phases and stages and kind of happens sort of nicely, but probably not, because I think the Earth we're really on the Earth's timeline now. I mean, before I would say the Earth was sort of slowing down so that we all didn't get fried in the process, because I'm
Yeah.
still of the current belief system that we are children of the sun, that the Earth is a solar logos, wants to move into the sun. Our sun is going to be the new sun, et cetera, et cetera. And that's the part, and that this whole solar system is in that part, which then, love Pluto, because Pluto's like, I'll hang out here while all of you are becoming suns, and I
Yeah.
will eventually be one, and I'm going to hold the dark force, like not the dark negative forces, but I'm going to hold the underworld and a lot of
Yeah.
these sort of other energies. So I feel like disclosure is going to be really challenging, particularly for the mind and the mental energies. And I've been having a lot of mental energy stuff kind of coming up the last few weeks, and I'm like, what is that? So I feel like collectively the mental energies are kind of getting pushed on and poked at, which is pretty interesting. I like AI stuff. is coming in, starting to be sort of more normal. Even, I don't mean like the crazy cyborg stuff. I mean like, I don't know, I can use AI to write an email now. I'm like, there's a lot of AI. I mean, there's a lot of artists that are consciously working with AI to kind of, you know, see where that's going, but it's going to
Right.
start becoming like a normal thing. And so just awareness, everything's about awareness, but definitely fascinating and interesting.
It is. Yeah. It's shades of Atlantis for sure. I just
Mhm.
feel we're coming full circle to Atlantis, and that's why that's why we're here. You know, we repeat what we haven't repaired. We repeat what we haven't healed. So
Yeah, but I like
Atlantis
the
would be,
R&R. We repeat what we haven't repaired.
yeah,
A good slogan.
yeah, totally. So anyway, thank you for that. That makes, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Is we're all on our own individual journey.
And I think that's important if we're going to go with the repeat what you haven't repaired. Let's say you were in Atlantis. I mean, I was in Atlantis, but not as an Atlantean, which doesn't mean that I don't have stuff to do or things to choose, right? But depending on what like these bodies and what our cellular structure is like connected to in different lifetimes, there might be some choices that you need to make that I'm like, Sharon's being kind of weird. Feels a little out of alignment to me, but you might need to make those because you have to choose differently in accordance to some lifetime that you had that like I'm not aware of. And I think that this is happening a lot. And so I feel like we need to have some compassion and understanding for those people. And also they don't need to be in your inner sphere if they don't need to be in your inner sphere. So I think,
Yeah,
boundaries, what the beings were talking about, boundaries built out of self-love versus boundaries out of fear, which are really quite different, right?
yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah.
fear is the opposite of love.
Yeah. But
Total
I mean,
opposite.
most people are like, "Oh, I'm afraid of that thing, so I need to have a boundary," or "That makes me really uncomfortable, so I need to have a
Oh, I
boundary."
see
And
what you're saying.
yeah,
Yeah,
those can be true, but if you're like,
right,
"I'm creating this boundary because I love myself right now, and what your behavior is doing is actually hurting me, so I'm
right.
gonna create a boundary, but not because I'm afraid of you." So
No,
it seem like the same boundary, but they're really, really different.
it's called self care.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Let's see here. Michelle has, I think, a question. Totally off topic. What's the significance of AB negative blood type, if there is any?
I don't really know anything about that.
I don't know.
You're not talking about like the R, like there's like some golden blood that.
Yeah. I understand that the negative, there's something, because I'm an O negative, and I understand there's something about the negative. I remember reading something about it, and I can't remember. It's in one of Elena Danon's books. Uh, Michelle, if you haven't read her books, I highly recommend, especially if you want to know about or understand about the Anunnaki and that history with Enlil and Enki. I know you asked about that here. Um, of course, U U is the rarest. There's a blood type called U. I had no idea.
Yeah, so AB negative is the rarest blood type in the ABO blood, and only 3% of donors belong to the AB group. So that makes sense. I don't know any like what that means. You're living on the edge. I don't know. I could try and tune in. Do you know anything about blood types necessarily? I wouldn't say like if you're this blood type, it means you're this galactic being. I've never received a message
No.
back, anything like that.
Well, I understand that my blood type goes all the way back to caveman days. So I'm supposed to be a meat eater.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't eat eat as much meat as I used to. You can only use you. You can only use you. You can only use you. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Are you a nurse, Michelle? Yeah, I don't. I have never heard of blood type U.
Because I've heard of RH negative, which I think,
I've heard of that too,
yeah, that's
being
really
some
challenging.
star. You basically have to be needed. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up.
I think what they do is I think that you donate, you basically stock your own blood, like for your,
Yes, I've heard of that. Hmm.
yeah. And hopefully you have a family member, if but maybe not. So that's the other thing is, I mean, so that's my other question, right? Is because our blood types are based on our parents' blood types, and so like, so you might think, oh, there was probably maybe aliens aliens came in and altered the blood type, and so you're a U. So where did the U come from if there wasn't a U before that? And so I think that if you were like an RH negative, that maybe one of your parents have that, but it's still super rare, but it's somebody in your family line. So mostly they stock their own. You have to stock your own blood. The problem is that if you're in an accident and that blood is in a different state or somewhere else, they have to try and like get it to you. But yeah, it would be kind of a challenge on the fear part of you. Like you're living, do you worry about that or not?
Yeah, that's that's the biggest. I think that's the biggest problem with Western society is the fear of death, and that's how these manipulators can control us.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's how they do it. Um, but I want to change the subject real quick. I don't know why this came to me. Whatever you were saying, brought it up. I've had the thought that, or inspiration, or thought, I don't know what it is, that perhaps Yeshua, the baby Jesus, Yeshua, and Mary and Mother Mary, okay, that Mother Mary became pregnant from a star being, and that's how you know Yeshua was born, or she's called the Virgin Mother apparently, and she became pregnant. So fundamentalist Christians aren't going to like that, but I've been, I wonder if that's he uh, how she became pregnant, that she was taken on board a ship and perhaps had, because I do understand that lineage um, may be Pleiadian. I'm not sure. I think it's
I thought
Pleiadian.
it was maybe. I thought it was Arcturian, but
Oh,
I don't know.
Turian. Okay. Okay. Um, and
They
so
could be both, right? I think so.
they
I think
can be.
Ursula and the Magdalene come in together uh, as their Arcturian selves. So it was a while ago, but it doesn't mean that they didn't have Pleiadian lifetimes and aren't,
Right, because I think the Pleiadian civilization is newer than Arcturian, so that makes sense totally. If I'm correct, you know more about that stuff. Um, but that's the only thing that makes sense to me. What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I'm it's either that or the angels, right? When you look at like the announce like I can't even say it,
Who?
so I'll let it go. But like my brain is going back to art history where the angels come down and they announce that like she's pregnant,
Oh
right? So
yeah.
again, something has come down to announce that she's pregnant and that this
Yes.
is happening, right? So winged beings, whether the seraphim, the archangels, the whomever, something was involved, and maybe a ship was also involved, right? Because there's a lot of
Right.
ship stories with Yeshua's background. However, this was a long time ago. I remember seeing this and sort of in the future and how that looks and how it actually happens. I don't know. But for I was shown that for women who really, really like, so this also, there has to be like a divine desire that is in it. Not just, I would like to be pregnant. So then you're pregnant, but like a really deep desire to be pregnant that you won't need you won't need semen, sperm from a male, like that within yourself you can basically impregnate yourself. So
I've heard that.
how far in the future I don't know, but it seemed not, it didn't feel far away. It didn't feel like in 30, 45 or something super far. It felt like, because there's a lot of women, and I guess that's the other thing to talk about. There's been a lot of stuff going around about the in humans becoming like an endangered species or something. And I guess depending on who you are, if you're a nature person, maybe you'll be celebrating that. And then a lot of other people are concerned about it. It would be challenging for the people that are living to go extinct, right? That's going to be a really tough transition if that's part of it. But maybe there will be people here that will be able to, like, will desire to actually give birth, and they'll be able to sort of impregnate themselves through this desire to like really be a mother. And like it's like that drive that is in your body so much can actually be co-created within yourself. That's what I saw like maybe 10 years ago, and I was like, oh, that's
Yeah, there's a researcher. I think he's a doctor of physics too. He's no longer with us. I forget his name. He does so much research, and I watched a video of his, and he mentioned that that women are able to have the capacity to become pregnant without a male sperm. That there's something within the woman's biology that can create sperm.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, but I would imagine it would have to be, like you say, something that needs to be triggered or activated within us.
Yeah.
But of
Yeah.
course, biologically, that's what he said. And gosh, I wish I could remember his name. He has some really good stuff. Um, yeah, I like the extraterrestrial idea better though. Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, then that could somehow be involved too, just maybe not as in like a, there's a ship but not a ship, right? Or somehow that's happening, but that still goes with the desire, right? So it's still
Yeah.
going to be maybe your galactic family or your connection or something, and there's still something happening. But I was
Right.
very, very clear. It was very, very clear that the intention, the focus, and like this desire had to be like a full bodied like desire, not out of desperation, not out of anything, but that like I'm doing this. So I feel like it's a definite would be that to me that would be like a clear sign that ascension is happening. Not because we don't need men or any of that. It's not what this is about. But it just felt really powerful too.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually had him have a memory in meditation of seeing Yeshua and walking, because I remember walking the planet with him, and I've shared that with you in my audience. And yeah, I forget what channel we're on. We're on this one, okay? Or so that I have memories of walking with him through the eyes of Mary Magdalene, and walking through the market with him, and he was being overwhelmed. Surrounding people were surrounding him and wanting him to heal them, and just really overwhelming him. And I saw a beam of light take him up in that moment when he was being overwhelmed. Ooh, and I get emotional talking about it. And he spent and in our time here there was no time, but he spent a little time on the ship too. And I saw him sit. I saw him. Blah, blah, I saw him sitting in meditation in the ship, and then the extraterrestrials beamed him back down to a little bit different location. I actually saw that in my. He showed me that.
That's cool. I like
That
it.
was very cool. Yeah, it's all connected. Okay, so gosh, 7:35 already. Anything else? Let me see. Oh, I wanted to show that one video that I showed you, which was
Oh
pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah. Let's look at it.
Okay, so to end our show today, there's this really cool video that Michael Sala has on his channel. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
This is the video called Comburgus video, which is a close-up of a craft so close that you can see the occupants. It is 100% real, and I was there as that was filmed.
The whole footage has been analyzed for a more scientific work for 2.5 weeks, frame by frame, pixel by pixel, and this is 100% genuine footage.
That was too quick. Did you see those extraterrestrials?
No, I think you got to pause on it. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Head here, head here, head here. You can see them in this window. Do you see them?
Yeah, yeah.
The typical gray type being here and here.
Probably wouldn't want to get too involved with that. That's what it feels like to me. But I don't know.
This was bad. I know they look like the negative grays, but this was taken a while back in Venezuela, I think. But
100%.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I wonder who validates these things. I mean, it's cool. I believe the validation. I'm not even worried
That was
about
Jacques Vallée. He's written tons of books on. That was him talking. Tons of books on extraterrestrials. You know who he is, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I have some of his books, but he's one of the leading authorities. That was
fun.
pretty cool.
I like video time.
Yeah. Oh, and I got to share one that Jay got. It's kind of cool and weird.
Okay.
And he does say, "What the f is that?" So, apologize. It's kind of small, but you can see it. I have it in regular speed, and then I have it slowed down. All right, I'll show you in regular speed first. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see if I pull this up. I wonder if I can do that from here. No, it's not like something like that. Oops.
What? It's not? Dang it, Jay.
No, it's not a big ship like that, but it's very strange. All right. Do you see my
Yeah.
window here? Okay.
Yes, I do. Come on.
Come on.
Can you double click on it?
Here it is. All right. There it is. Okay. So there it is. You see it?
No, I don't. I see the window that you opened, but not the video.
Oh, shoot. Yeah. For some reason.
No.
I'm not able to share that. I'll have to put it on YouTube.
Okay.
Share it from YouTube next time. I'll share it next time.
Okay.
Okay.
Now,
Alrighty.
oh wait, now you have to unshare your screen so we come back.
Oh.
There we are.
Way too many buttons. Okay. All right. Anything else? Any questions? Anyone else want to share something they've experienced before we close?
I love that it's still light outside.
Yeah. I know, right? All right. I don't see anything. Thank you, Ashley, for being here.
Yeah, thank you. It was fun.
Yes, thank you, Michelle. It was nice chatting with you. And thank you, everyone else, for watching. And please like, subscribe if you haven't already, wherever you are. And we'll see you next time.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we'll see you next month, if not sooner. So come to what we have going on.
Oh, yes.
I have Psychic Summer Fun Fest, which are games to supercharge your gifts. And I just want to make it clear that if you are a practitioner, it's a good practice circle to be in. And if you are new, it's a good practice circle to be in. It's a safe space. We'll be doing transmissions to help activate what we're going to be working on. And then we'll do an hour of working on that. So starting July 25th, if you go to my website, galacticashley.com, it should be right on the front page. And I'm looking forward to working with all of you. Then after mine, then you can join Sharon's in September.
Yes, yes.
And you have
At the end of the month.
reading thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at the end of the month, I have the Akashic Records and clearing any programming that you don't need any longer. Good stuff.
Awesome.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, everyone.
Woo.
See you out there.